little book club where we talk about books, especially the ones that give us book hangovers. I'm Sarah, with me and Megan.
Hey!
And today we are talking about Unbroken Bonds by Jay Bree.
Today we're talking about Broken Bonds, and we're really excited today because we're talking about Savage Bonds, which is the second book in the Bonds That Tie series. We are talking about Blood Bonds by Jay Bree. It's the third book in the Bonds That Ties series. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
It's like Forced Bonds by Jay Bree. Yay! Today we are talking about Tragic Bonds by Jay Bree. Fifth book of Bonds That Tie series. We're almost to the end.
This is our first episode that we've been following this series, so it's exciting. It's an exciting day.
Yep. This will be our 7th episode about the series because we did one with the cover artist.
Yes.
Yeah, Emily.
Love the cover.
So yeah.
They're so great.
Before we get started, spoiler alert. If you haven't read it yet, then don't listen unless you want to know what happens and how we feel about it.
Basically. The little moments.
Mm-hmm.
Again, because I'm kind of obsessed with North and I'm just getting it on the ground floor. Which brings me, can we talk about the TT class for a minute? That whole storyline is just a stroke of brilliance. The teacher, what's his name? It starts with
Vivian.
What is it?
Vivian.
Yes, Vivian. I love Vivian. I have seen people say like, oh, maybe they're related. I don't think they're related. And I think that would take away from this like natural relationship and the respect he has. I think he's like a wise guy, like a wise teacher who just like sees through the BS. I want to know what his powers are.
Yes.
Because we don't know that. But I just love like that she gives him shit in front of the tactical guys and they're all like, oh, you're giving him shit. And it's like no big deal. And like the fact that she, isn't physically fit. First of all, that was inspiring for me to like read how she wanted to die and how she just kept pushing herself. That was like really inspiring to me that she just, fought through it. Because I feel her on the exercise level. Exercise is hard.
It is hard. It's very hard. And the more you do it, the easier it is. And what I love though is like, she has this power
like
and stuff.
Mega power. Yeah.
She's not using it. So not only is she exerting her body in exercise, but then she's also in her inner self, holding this thing back and doing all this stuff. But I think Vivian has a good sense of people. And like he even told her, like, it's like after that maze, like she did good. And she's being very impressive for her level of like physicalness and not having a power that they know. Yeah. I really like him. I think he likes her. I think he understands who she is as a person, just by how like much she's doing in these classes. She hates it. And I think he puts up with her because I think he's probably really lonely at home or something. And he's around all these macho people who want to be in TT. And here she is that's like lightening the mood, offering to do something so like a teacher he hates has paperwork to do. I mean, I love that.
That was amazing. That was so great. I loved that. It was like when she's like, I want to die. And he's like, she goes, I'll jump off a bridge. I love her dramatics. Yeah. She's like, I'm going to throw, that's so me. Like, I'm going to throw myself. I'd rather throw myself off of a bridge. And he's like, I'm a mandatory reporter. He's like joking, but he's not. And he's like, well, then I'll just say it to this other teacher. Like, how funny is that? Like,
I love that. And I'm
humor.
wondering, him and Griffin seem very close. So I'm wondering, once we find Griffin's story, I'm wondering if like maybe Vivian took Griffin in a little bit, taught him what he knows, and maybe, maybe Griffin's like an orphan or something as well,
We know he has the sister that owned that or is part of that coffee shop that denied her, but that's all we know.
Right.
So they are like Griffin and him are close. So and he's like there for those trainings. So I am very curious to see, you're right, their relationship. Yeah. So I have this like horrible theory and I'm like, I really hope that they don't kill Vivian off at some point.
I know. I thought of that at the attack of the Resistance. Because I'm like, where's Vivian during this? And I really hope that he ends up okay. But I feel like One of my friends says that a book's not good unless a main character dies.
Not wrong though, it's powerful, but I feel like if it happens, it'll happen like down the line.
Yeah, and I think it will be like him like saving Ollie or something. Like I think it will be like a good sacrifice thing if it happens. I hope not, because I really like him. But I could definitely see that being somebody that gets thrown in there just
for that, like for that being maybe part of his storyline, because you do look for those things. You look for like, well, who's the character that might happen to? I don't know, something just I think when you're a reader, you just like and you're a reader of certain caliber books, like a J. Bree book, you're going to be like early on kind of clocking like, oh, like with all your theories, like, oh, this could be like a character that we fall in love with that might meet an unfortunate demise. But here's hoping he doesn't.
I know. I really
wouldn't do that to her. Like even if he found his bonded, I feel like he would.
I don't think he's gonna abandon her like Riley did.
I don't think so. And they feel such a strong connection for each other. There has to be more.
What if they are actually bonded? Like what if they are bonds and they just don't know, like something they didn't, because not everyone gets the blood test done, right? It's just like it happened to Ollie because she ended up in the hospital and that's how they found all of her bonds. So I'm like, maybe not everybody gets it, and that they don't know that he actually is. He's feels so much for her and feels so connected to her and is watching her a lot, that I'm wondering if they're not actually, what if Sage is actually the central bond, and the other chick is not even supposed to be a bond, you know? Like
what if she used her telekinesis for the whole thing and switched it up? And so he thinks that they're in this bond. So much. This is a great theory.
I think I'm hoping, and I hope I hope she doesn't change it if it is true.
Love that kind of effect. But what we want is a close-up character, but we also want some Easter eggs, so sort of clues of what there's going to be in the story.
Okay.
And then they was talking about like her power is linked to death. I'm not going to go too much into it, but so they wanted to have some sort of death omens shown, and that is in the art is shown by the ravens and the, how do you say, oleander flower, which is also her name, so it sort of has that link, and also obviously the skull and things like that. So there was a real correlation with death and that theme around that. So yeah, that's what they initially gave me. And then they said, you know, how, you know, it's now in the ball's in your court, could you help us, you know, show all of that in a creative way? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Bonds, which is the second book of the Bonds That Tie series, and we just released an episode on Broken Bonds a few weeks ago.
Is it the ties that bind?
Yes, the ties that bond.
Wait, you said it backwards. You said the bonds that tie.
I don't know where to start. We already started.
Well,
so
we started at the end. We started at the beginning.
I mean, I want to jump to something, but it's further in the story. So I don't want to, like, I want to go in order, but it's really hard for me because I really want to talk about Griffin.
Oh, I know, right? Okay, well, okay, the ties that bind.
It's the ties that bond, right? The bonds that tie.
Oh my god, I said it wrong in that. Yes, I said that. That was me again saying it wrong, because now my brain is miswired after this.
Let me just,
the bonds that tie.
Guys, like, can I just say that the smoke puppies?
Yes,
I am in love with them. Brutus, oh my gosh. I just like, I want my own.
I know. And just the way that the way that she like the people react to her, like, you know, having them is amazing. I just love it. They're like, oh, don't touch the puppy. What are you doing? And she's like, it's no big deal. Like, it doesn't faze her at all. Yeah. She trusts them fully, where she can't trust the bonds fully, but she trusts the puppies fully.
Yes.
I love that.
I just loved it. I loved how, you know, it just kind of happened. And then, you know, and just the love she has for the little guy. And he for her too, you could tell like they have this cute little relationship. And like what I'm dying for is like for like, you know, I love there's a scene where Knox and her are petting him together. And like I love that. I loved, you know, how he takes care of his little creatures. You know, you see that at night, how he lets them out and they're all sleeping around his room. And like, I love that first glimpse of him because I feel like we didn't get a lot of Knox this book.
We didn't, yeah.
But we did get that. And
we got little
that.
Hints. We got some hints of Knox that I think are gonna come in the future that are gonna be like gripping and powerful. So I think, yes. That was such a great scene between the brothers. Oh, I loved it.
Yes.
Her bonds to finally know the big, hey, she 100% was in the camps. She didn't run away from you, which completely changes things for my favorite character, North. I like seeing more than just the dog. I mean, I love the dogs, but I like knowing that he had a snake creature too.
Yes. I love that when that popped up in there. I was like, oh, I like that. I like that too. And then to have Karen there too. I already liked Karen. Mm-hmm. And I like that he could already tell that she was actually okay, which is so funny because right at first we didn't like him.
No,
because he was such an ass to her. And then now, like, I'm like, he's one of my favorite friends. I'm happy he's now in the friend group, which we'll get to that too.
I feel like with him, I feel like he was like the bonds at first. Mm-hmm. He like didn't trust her. He had misconceptions, but he wasn't bonded to her, so he could see past that before they even could, to being like, hey, this stuff doesn't add up. This is what I'm seeing. Obviously she didn't run away. And then now he's witnessing what happened. And like, I love him so much. And I love that he is in a certain bond group. And I want more of that. I'm like, can we get a novella over here of this bond group of Kieran and Sage? I need more.
Well, I loved how that happened too. How she went to just like give a little like extra, you know, to Felix, and then it got him too, and then Ollie's like, whoa, and then but you know, like I just I love that.
Say anything at first. Yes,
I read that a couple of times. I'm like, wait, what just happened? Wait, did that just happen?
I love how exactly. That was so exciting. I really want to get more of that. I hope we get more of that. I need more of Sage's bond group. Well, I guess we'll get more into that's the thing though.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave the Sage thing for the end too. Guess what? I forgot for a minute. I'm like, oh yeah, I need a Sage novella, and then I was like, wait a second. The ending.
Soft. I want to see her being, and I get like they explained why they're not yet, and they're watching people, but it's just so like part of me's like just off of their heads and like you know, so like, and I have like because I'm like it's Sage, and I'm like I just can't believe like the Sage that we know. So something is manipulating Sage.
I think it's like how we didn't believe Atlas, the last book, that like with his father.
Yeah.
But it would be something though. It would be quite the plot twist if she was resistance all along.
They go on a mission. Do Gabe and Oli bond first? Crap. They might bond first. Gabe and Oli bond.
They are bonding. That's my thing. I'm like, we get the whole group has bonded by the end of this book. We've got it. There's like taking turns.
Yes. So
they build houses. They're building the house.
They're really affirming the sanctuary. I think the sanctuary becomes their home in this book, and you know, and it's a great transition from the college setting to this book. It feels right. You know, North is going off into the human world to like talk about, which I didn't realize the humans had known. So they're kind of expanding the world and their enemies a little bit with like an evil senator or something. That, you know, North is doing a lot for the community. People are regretting not coming in. They're recovering from the attack. They're fortifying things. They're accepting Ollie's bond more.
Well, and then we also finding out as the guys are bonding with her that they're getting more powers or strengthened. Like we also find like Atlas was able to like save Gabe from getting like crushed, right? With like a bathtub or tile or
the bathtub
something during the construction.
on him.
Yeah. So
So
that's really cool.
He can project. He's working on projecting his powers.
And then we find out that Gabe's a dragon.
Yes.
Gabe's a dragon, everybody.
And that
and I love that how she's like think bigger, like the bond inside her was like think bigger, and then that's what happens. And I was like, oh, okay. So we start off with Knox is
dead.
Knox is dead, and it's no, he's not. There is soul bonding that takes place.
North is like beside himself and he cannot deal. And Oli is very sad, but her bond's like, we can fix it. Holds on to his soul, keeps the soul in the body, and she has to convince everyone, hey, I can fix it. And Felix, heals the body against advisement and kind of gets in trouble. And then they soul bond and they see each other's lives and like everything they've lived through.
Yes, which I think is amazing for those two. So amazing. Okay, but we're not going to do an episode about this. It's quick. Okay.
And the dragon won't unshift, so they have to take them back.
Yeah.
So that's when everyone discovers, oh, hey, and Oli had slipped into his mind. She'd done the mind thing again and like met the dragon and he was cool. But like at this point, they couldn't get him to shift back. So everyone's on alert and they're coming to the conclusion that, okay, everybody's bonds are gods. And like
I felt for Gabe with his indigestion after his dragon ate. But that stuff was funny. I like those little like humorous day-to-day life type things thrown in there. I really needed that for this group because they've been put through the ringer from book one. And so I needed to see them. Those moments where she's talking to Gabe while fixing up the school, or just those little moments of like when she buried or scattered the ashes of her parents and Knox showed up to just sit with her during it, like just things like that. It's like I needed those tiny
were my
things.
Those were my favorite moments. I agree. And I could read a whole book that was just them kind of living their life, slice of life. Like here's what happened after all of the wars. And I mean, and it sounded like, not to skip to the end, but it sounds like, they're not saying everything is wrapped up. There's still going to be stuff to do. There's still going to be like just like resistance and whatnot, but it'd be interesting to just like see them like trying to like, okay, here's how we live life now. Like, here's how the bonding group is going to function.
Like, can you picture like all these little like toddler like petting a smoke puppy?
Oh, that'd be so cute. And like it was funny how Gabe's like, North's gonna want to have Gabe teased us. He's like, North's gonna demand to have your baby. It has to be his first, no matter what. The bonds that tie. Why is that hard? The bonds that tie. I don't understand why that's hard to say. It is so.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for following the bonds with us and for tuning in. And we'll see you next time on the book over.
Bye, everybody.